Oftentimes, those who have been through so many different trials, pain, difficulty, we've been conditioned to protect ourselves. And so softness has one of those connotations in terms of being weak. So one of the things that I like to do with some of the terminology we use, which can automatically start turning people off because, soft means weak, and I don't have no time to be weak because I got to take care of such and such and such and such, and this is what happens to soft, weak people. So it's about being able to be pliable. It's about being able to know how to flow, the ebbs and the tides, and the magic that's connected with that mystery, and how to be in that. That's some serious power. There's nothing weak about that. When you know what's under the soft tissue and what lives in there, that you might be able to, push on that, and that bends in. But what's underneath that? Those bones, those arteries, those vessels, those meridians, that's life. That's life force that's living in there. And so we need to be able to understand that, because other than that, we see the feminine in this place of weakness, and that's how it, was taken advantage of and destroyed and shut down and all of these different things. When you realize that, being able to understand this powerful, especially this womb and the womb connection with everything else, when you understand how 1 minute you can go into the ocean, you used that word earlier on, the tsunami, 1 minute you can go into the ocean and just walk along the shore and throw water on yourself, and it's so nice, and what have you. And then the next minute, those waves are coming up and crashing and tearing down walls. Excuse me? Excuse me? Where is that power coming from? That wind that is just gently blowing, and the trees are, and then that hurricane comes, that fire, that warmth, that is, oh, so nice, so nice. Oh, let me put my hands, and then that blaze that can tear a whole constructed building down to ashes. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. So that is within us. And that feminine, is really about how you honor that, how you flow with that, how you balance that. Yeah.
How do you think the power of ritual helps to, how do you feel that the power of ritual helps to align you in that energy? Or do you need the power of ritual to do that?
I think we do need the power of ritual, because ritual gives us the tools and the elements to work with that. And it gives us that in a sacred way. It's like when you understand the power of something, ritual is about, how do you work with that power? I remember years ago hearing this shaman talk about how he was an anthropologist and then went to Peru and just got pulled into nature. And so started working with the shamans. And he watched these shamans and was learning these, trying to learn these rituals, you know, going into the forest and what have you. And so he was there for about 5 years, still receiving this tutelage. And he said whenever he would go into the forest, all of a sudden, you know, he'd step in 3 feet and he would try to be honoring and what have you. And all the animals, the insects, everything in the forest would get quiet. And he was like, what just happened? And the shamans were like, they hear you coming in, they feel you coming in, they see you coming in, even from a distance. And, you know, they're like, be quiet till he leaves. Stay still till he leaves. And he said one day he's still practicing the rituals and what have you, 5 years. He walked into the forest and about 10 feet in, he realized that there was still all this noise going on and it hadn't stopped. And he was trying to figure out like, what just happened? And so the elders told him when he came out of the forest and he had done all the rituals, you have become the forest. You have become one and in alignment with everything that occupies the forest. And you have now incorporated and become aligned with all of these rituals so that you're not practicing them anymore. You're being them. Now, I still try to play with that to this day. I'll go outside in my backyard or whatever, and I'll try to be one with everything and see if the squirrels will not run away. And, you know, over the past 20 years, maybe the squirrel will stay for a minute and kind of look and say, and then it's gone. So I don't know, maybe I've made some progress. I don't know. Maybe they didn't run immediately, but you know, that's the journey, becoming one with everything. And ritual helps us so that that becomes second nature, natural.
Focus at Sacred Waters is providing an intimate space that is safe for Black and Brown women to come to reconnect. And for many of them, more than half of them, who don't even know that they need to reconnect. They've never disconnected to reconnect.
Yes.
A bigger part of the weekend will be spent allowing these ladies to see that they can disconnect and then that they can reconnect to something that actually fills them up. It provides some additional tools that they can use that are not going to add, you know, not going to add something to their chore list, but something that really inspires and encourages them to want to see things differently.
Yes.
As women, we talk about all the things that we want to manifest, that we want to see. We have these plans on top of plans on top of plans for life, and a lot of those plans go awry because we don't see the value in having a ritual towards getting the plan. Now, I know somebody listening to this or watching this may say, well, I wanted to be a doctor, so I planned for that. I went to school. I did my 12 years of school. And so that's a different type of plan. I'm talking about working your master plan, your spiritual plan. What's in your best interest that people can't physically see?
Mm-hmm.
inside of you.
Yes.
How are you moving in your everyday life that shines a little light? I guess that's the best way for me to say it. That shines a little light, that someone walks up to you and says, there is something I just don't know what it is
Mm-hmm.
about you.
Yes.
I think it's at that junction that when that becomes more of the norm, we begin to see that we get to see our own value. We get to see our own worth. We get to see that we matter. And we may have heard it, or we may not have heard it. A lot of us have not heard that we matter.
Mm-hmm.
And we've tried to convince ourselves that we matter. Yes. We're doing it on the wrong platform. We're doing it the wrong way, I think. I don't think the tools that we've had have been ones that really can build the structure we need to sustain us. And I think too, we get caught, and I'm speaking from experience, that we get caught sometimes in the trivial pursuit of what we think will make us happy, when really it's all about what's your foundation? What is your foundation?
Yes.
So Bonde, are you standing on sand, or are you standing on concrete?
Right.
Are you standing on sand, and are you standing on concrete? So one of the last questions that I want to ask you is, do you find it useful that there should be places and spaces for Black and brown women to gather so that they do not find and have the pressures of society and what they're accustomed to in their everyday lives, their jobs, their, whatever it is that they're doing in this everyday world, walking through this world as a Black and brown woman is not easy.
No.
So do you find that there's some good, that there's some good in having a safe space for Black and brown women to gather for their own healing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's important to be able to be with those who recognize your life, and the different layers, levels of your life, and to be seen in that way. And so that, I believe, is essential, so that you can retrace some of the patterns of who you are, or who it's been said that you are, and trace that together, and then unpack what needs to be unpacked together, and then retrace that in a whole new way, and being able to have that strength. I think that's essential. In addition to that, I think that we do our work based on, first, our tribes, our family, our origin, and then to be able to also expand that. I think women of color being able to come together and do the things that I just shared, as look like, feel like, taste like, experience like. I think it's also important for males to be able to be in their own tribe, their similarities, all of that, and then at some point to be able to expand into larger tribes, larger groups, with this kind of intimacy, this kind of connection, to explore not only what are some of the similarities, but to explore the differences from a whole different place. A place of personal healing that has been started. An example, I work with a lot of couples doing couple healing. And one of the things that I used to say years ago when I first started doing this work was that healthy individuals make healthier couples. So to have a couple come and just be going at each other, you know, this is pissing me off, you did this, you did that, that oftentimes doesn't work in the best way, or can take really extended periods of time to get to. So you've got to work with one person and then this other person to understand their perspectives, create safety for them, create a space where they know that they're valued, they're honored, they're heard, all of those things, before then bringing them together to be able to see and hopefully acknowledge the other's perspective. And from that place, you understand that pain is pain. Joy is joy. It's just from different perspectives. That becomes the next level for healing. So where do we start? We start with self. And then reflections of self to create even a greater sacred womb space to explore the challenges and rejoice over those magnificent diamonds that have been extracted from these challenges, which some refer to as dung.